Now, this is the M Sport package. Now, that means it comes with a few specialized things that your typical 430i won't have. Now, another thing that makes this Beamer special is the fact that these brakes auto-dry, meaning that during a wet weather condition, the brakes will actually partially apply just enough to dry before you hit them. The next thing you'll be thinking about will be trunk space. Now, speaking of the top, that brings us to our next feature. Make sure she's in park, and you can do this. The 430i suits the whole family in a bunch of different ways. The best of which is the driver profile system. When you go to park, the transmission is an 8-speed, and the paddles are beautifully positioned right here behind your hand. It doesn't feel like an afterthought. If I were to track this car, What's up, guys? I'm Nathan Burke. This is Road Rave, and today we're going to be checking all the stuff out here at the Dayton Cruise-In. Close. You can see some small wear and tear, stuff like that right here, but I mean, 95% of this thing is just perfect. It looks like it was right out of the factory, kept in such great condition. You see, I mean, it looks like it's actually being driven, which is really rare. So it's good to see that the owner not only appreciates it, keeps it nice, but he isn't afraid to actually take it out on the road as well. How long would you say it took to get to kind of where it's at now? It's the 60s. Love is free, Fortunate Son is written, and Ford is pissed.
Because the Ford market.
This. It's 1961, and Ferrari has officially run out of money. He immediately called upon his best and brightest engineers and gave them a blank check with one statement: go to Le Mans, beat Ferrari. However, in terms of the drivers, the finish was actually a bit flawed, as headlines called in the champagne wasters in weeks to follow. And so proving once and for all that Americans could compete in even the greatest cathedrals of racing. My name's Nathan Burke, and we're going to run the Indy 500. After that, we need at least two new 2018 Dallara spec aero kits for $90,000 each, with the additional cost of $37,712 should we need to retrofit them onto a 2017 car. In 1964, Pontiac Tempest, probably one of the least known muscle cars of its era. This is what you got if you didn't feel like forking over the extra cash on the specialized taillights and hood scoops of the GTO. And powered by a big block Pontiac with a 200 Ford transmission, this blue beast truly has the bite to back up the bark. The driving experience of it feels raw. As weird as this sounds, I love this for the same reason I love a Cadillac, because you look at CTS, every Alpha has an Omega. The car is just precise, it's detailed. If a piece goes down on this side, it comes back up on this side. There's just that sort of attention that you see on this. You see the brass bolts on the header. Daniel Ricciardo leaving Red Bull for, get this, Renault. It wasn't surprising when we saw a Twitter post from Daniel Ricciardo saying that big changes were coming soon. What was surprising, however, was what big changes turned out to be. But no one on the planet expected him to go to Renault, as a lot of the issues he's been having with Red Bull could actually be traced back to Renault engine failure. However, these wins have come after a long time of progression, and the cars were a lot closer then than they are now, as the three vehicles and then later cars. That said, the Opel logo has gone through more changes than the Fast and Furious franchise. Volkswagen truly seems to stick to its deepest roots, even in the symbol, as being the common man's automobile. The real story actually goes much deeper than that. And today, we're going to be talking about the top 5 craziest concoctions ever to hit the asphalt. The Battle Van. Have you ever wondered what might happen if Rambo and Joe Dirt had a child, and that child bought a car? Well, I know I haven't. But if you have, wonder no more. Here we are, the pits at the Indy 500. More. And then everyone else did the exact same thing. Nissan built the famed R390 GT1, both of which street cars have never escaped the clutches of Nissan ownership. Mercedes' middle finger salute to all of this was the CLK GTR, the only of which actually decided to build all 25 of the recommended street cars. And the next year, McLaren freaking responded. Enter the F1 GTR Longtail. For the combination of both the insane McLaren F1 and the also very quick Ferrari F40 LM, let's just say a typical 911 wasn't going to cut it anymore. First, we have to rewind all the way back to 1996. Ferrari had the F. It's the late 90s. Y2K is coming, MTB is flourishing, and supercars were winning at Le Mans. And as it would seem, it leaves Red Bull in quite the awkward position too, leaving the young and often inflammatory Max Verstappen in control of one of the greatest operations in racing history.